Welcome back to Coin Quest, everyone, coin collectors and history buffs. Today we're diving into the world of American coinage with a fascinating look at one of the most common yet intriguing coins in your pocket, the 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it might look like just another old penny, but dig a little deeper and you'll uncover stories of history, hidden value, and rare errors that could turn that 1 cent into real cash. So stay tuned as we break down everything you need to know about the 1967 Lincoln penny. Let's start with the basics. The 1967 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse or front of the coin. It was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real historical figure, marking a major shift in American coin design. Since then, the Lincoln penny has become one of the most collected coins in the world. Now, what makes the 1967 Lincoln penny special? First, let's understand the historical context. The year 1967 was a transitional time for U.S. coinage. Just a few years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint removed silver from most coins due to rising metal costs. That year, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which led to changes in the production of coins and temporarily suspended mint marks to prevent hoarding. So, from 1965 to 1967, pennies and other coins were struck without mint marks. That means you won't find a D for Denver or S for San Francisco on the 1967 penny. It's intentionally missing. During 1967, over 3 billion pennies were minted. To be exact, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 3 billion coins that year. No coins were struck at the Denver or San Francisco mints due to the suspension of mint marks, even though those facilities were operational. That means every 1967 penny you find will appear to be from Philadelphia, even if it wasn't necessarily struck there. So, is the 1967 Lincoln penny rare? In terms of sheer numbers, no, it's actually one of the most common pennies ever produced. But rarity isn't the only factor that makes a coin valuable. Condition, demand, and errors also play a huge role. That's where things start to get interesting. Let's talk about condition first. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's been in circulation and shows signs of wear might grade between 1 and 50, while coins that are virtually perfect and have never been circulated might score 60 and up. A 1967 penny in average circulated condition is typically worth its face value, 1 cent. However, in uncirculated condition, the value can climb. A red, mint state coin graded MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for anywhere between $5 to $20, sometimes more if it's in truly exceptional shape. Now let's get into the exciting part, errors. Error coins are among the most valuable and desirable items in the world of coin collecting. They occur when something goes wrong during the minting process. Some of the known errors for the 1967 penny include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets. A double die error happens when the die used to strike the coin has a misaligned image, creating a doubling effect on letters or numbers. This kind of error can increase a coin's value significantly. Depending on the severity of the doubling, some 1967 double die pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes are another popular error. If the coin blank wasn't properly centered when it was struck, you'll see part of the design missing on one side. The more off-center it is, especially if you can still see the date, the more valuable it becomes. A 1967 penny with a dramatic off-center strike and visible date could fetch between $50 to a few $100s. Then, there's the clipped planchet error. This occurs when a part of the coin is missing due to a mistake in the blank cutting process. These errors are fairly easy to spot, and can bring in a small premium, typically between $5 to $50, depending on the clip size and overall condition of the coin. Another factor to watch out for is the coin's color. Copper coins, like the 1967 penny, can appear in three shades: red, red-brown, and brown. A red coin, meaning it has retained its original coppery shine, is the most desirable and valuable among collectors. Brown coins, while still collectible, are the least valuable. So, if you have a red 1967 penny in mint state condition, you might be holding on to a coin worth far more than a single cent. Let's talk market value. As of now, in today's collector market, a standard 1967 penny in circulated condition sells for around 1 cent. A red, uncirculated example can bring $5 to $20. A high-grade example, such as an MS-67, could fetch up to a few $100s at auction. Error coins, depending on rarity and visibility of the mistake, can sell anywhere from a few dollars to over $1,000 in very rare cases. The most valuable 1967 pennies ever sold have been error coins in mint state condition with dramatic features that catch the eye of serious collectors. So, how can you find out if your 1967 penny is worth anything? First, check the condition. Is it bright red and shiny, or dull and worn? Then look for errors, especially doubling or off-center strikes. Finally, consider sending it to a professional grading service if you think you have something special. Having a certified grade can increase a coin's value and make it easier to sell to collectors. To wrap up, the 1967 Lincoln penny may not be a rare coin in itself, but it's part of a fascinating era in U.S. minting history. With over 3 billion coins struck and no mint marks due to a temporary policy, it stands out as a unique year. While most examples are only worth face value, some in pristine condition or with mint errors can be worth a lot more. So next time you see a 1967 penny in your change jar, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. You might just have a hidden treasure in your hand. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, history, and value breakdowns. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time, where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures in your pocket change. In today's video, we are diving deep into the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it may seem like just another ordinary copper coin from decades past, but for collectors and investors, this penny holds much more than face value. So stay with us as we uncover the history, the key features, the hidden varieties, and the current market value that might surprise you. Let us start with the history. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909, created to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design by Victor David Brenner features Lincoln's bust on the obverse or front side, and initially the reverse featured 2 wheat ears, which were later replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. By the time we get to 1975, the Lincoln Memorial design was well established and had already been in use for over 15 years. The 1975 penny continued the tradition of being made primarily from copper. Specifically, these coins were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and weighed 3.11 grams. This composition remained standard until 1982, when the U.S. Mint transitioned to a primarily zinc-based planchet due to the rising cost of copper. That means if you have a 1975 penny, it's one of the last consistent years where copper was still the dominant metal. Now let us talk about the different mints. The 1975 penny was struck at 2 major U.S. mint locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins struck in Philadelphia have no mint mark, while coins from Denver carry the letter D below the date. There were no San Francisco business strikes for circulation in 1975, although proof coins were made at the San Francisco Mint for collectors. These proof coins were carefully struck and have a mirror-like finish, making them particularly attractive to numismatists. In terms of mintage, the numbers are enormous. Over 5.4 billion Lincoln pennies were minted in Philadelphia, and nearly 4.5 billion in Denver. That means in total nearly 10 billion pennies were made in that year alone. With numbers that high, you might wonder why a 1975 penny would ever be worth more than 1 cent. The answer lies in condition, rarity, and collector demand. For example, if you have a standard 1975 penny that has been in circulation for years with scratches, discoloration, or wear and tear, then its value is probably still around face value, maybe a bit more if it is in decent shape due to the copper content. However, if you come across a 1975 penny in uncirculated condition, with sharp details, full luster, and minimal contact marks, then things start to get interesting. High-grade examples, especially those graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch anywhere from a few dollars to over $100 depending on their condition. Now let's take a moment to discuss the copper angle. In recent years, the value of copper has gone up, which has led many to hoard pre-1982 Lincoln pennies for their metal value alone. The melt value of a 1975 penny, which is almost entirely copper, can be more than 2 cents depending on market conditions. However, it is important to note that melting U.S. coins for their metal content is currently illegal, so while the theoretical melt value may be higher than 1 cent, the coin still must be traded legally as a collectible or spendable currency. Back to the 1975 penny and how it can be worth real money. One of the biggest factors influencing the value is condition. Coins that are graded mint state 65 or higher with full red coloration can be very valuable. Red refers to the original copper color of the coin. Over time, copper darkens to brown, but coins that retain their red luster are more sought after by collectors. A 1975 Lincoln penny graded MS67 red by PCGS, for example, has sold for over $1,000 at auction. That is right, a single penny selling for over $1,000 simply because of its pristine condition and brilliant red tone. In addition to condition and mint location, errors and varieties can dramatically increase value. For the 1975 penny, collectors look for double die obverse, where parts of the design, like the date or the word Liberty, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. While there are no widely recognized double die varieties for 1975, some collectors report finding minor anomalies, which still can be worth a premium. Another error to watch for is off-center strikes, where the coin design is not properly centered, which can make the coin more valuable. Similarly, coins struck on the wrong planchet or those with die cracks and other mint-made abnormalities can command high prices depending on their severity and uniqueness. Then, there are proof coins. The 1975 S-proof penny produced at the San Francisco Mint was included in proof sets sold to collectors. These coins were not made for circulation and were carefully struck with polished dies. If you have a 1975 S penny with a mirror-like surface and frosted details, it might be a proof. While many of these have survived in good condition due to careful storage, some high-grade proof examples, especially those with perfect PR70 grades, can sell for over $50 to $100 or more in today's market. What is the current market value for the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny? Most circulated examples still go for face value or just above. High-grade uncirculated examples can fetch between $1 and $10. Mint state 66 and above, especially with full red coloration, can go for $50 to several $100. Coins graded MS67 red or better can break into the $1,000 range depending on demand at the time of sale. Proof coins also vary from a few dollars to around $100 depending on grade and certification. Error coins and unique varieties may sell for even more depending on rarity and buyer interest. The most valuable 1975 pennies ever sold at auction are usually the ones certified by a top grading service in pristine condition. For example, PCGS has auction records for 1975 D pennies in MS67 red that have sold for well over $1,000. These are extremely rare and were likely preserved by collectors immediately after minting without ever entering circulation. In conclusion, the 1975 Lincoln penny might seem like just another coin in your change jar, but it can be worth far more than one cent depending on its condition, rarity, and whether it contains any unique errors or features. With billions minted, it is not exactly rare, but finding one in pristine red uncirculated condition or spotting an error penny can turn a humble 1-cent coin into a prized collector's item. So, the next time you come across a penny from 1975, take a second look. You never know what hidden value it might hold. Whether you are a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, always keep an eye out for those small details that can make a big difference. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to our channel for more coin collecting tips and hidden treasures from US Mint history. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your next coin find be a rare gem, where we uncover the fascinating stories behind the coins in your pocket and the treasures hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most interesting and potentially valuable pennies from recent American history, the 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might be holding on to something worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, and you wouldn't even know it. So, why is the 1983 Lincoln penny so special? Let's rewind history and explore everything you need to know. We'll talk about the background of the coin, what makes it unique, how much it can be worth today, and how to tell if you have one of the rare versions collectors are dying to get their hands on. Let's begin with the basics. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has been a part of American currency since 1909. It was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. For decades, the penny was made of solid bronze, a mix of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But everything changed in 1982. In 1982, the U.S. Mint made a major change to the penny's composition. Rising copper prices made it too expensive to keep using mostly copper. So halfway through the year, the mint switched from the traditional bronze alloy to a cheaper core made of 99.2% zinc with just a thin copper plating. This change was more cost-effective for the government, but it also opened the door to one of the most interesting minting errors in modern coin history. And that's where the 1983 penny comes in. By 1983, all Lincoln cents were supposed to be struck on the new copper-plated zinc planchets. However, at least a few rare 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on the old bronze planchets from before the composition change. That mistake created what is now one of the most valuable error coins in recent memory. So, how can you tell if your 1983 penny is one of these rare copper coins? There are a couple of key indicators. First is the weight. A standard 1983 zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams. But if yours weighs around 3.1 grams, then congratulations, it may have been struck on a leftover copper planchet from 1982. You'll need a precise digital scale to test this, but that one difference could mean your penny is worth a fortune. Now, let's talk about value. What is a 1983 Lincoln penny really worth? Most 1983 pennies are common and worth only face value. But if you have the rare copper version or a double die error, you're looking at serious money. One 1983 copper penny sold at auction for over $15,000. Another example with a strong double die reverse, where the lettering on the back of the coin is visibly doubled, sold for thousands as well. And it's not just error coins that attract interest. Even high-grade regular 1983 pennies in mint state condition can fetch more than a few dollars. A flawless coin graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service can be worth between $50 and $200. So yes, even a so-called common penny can be a sleeper treasure. So what's the best way to check your 1983 pennies? First, gather all your 1-cent coins from that year. Look at the date carefully to confirm it's from 1983, and make sure there's no mint mark for Philadelphia or a small D for Denver. Both mints struck millions of these coins, but the rare errors could come from either. Next, weigh each penny using a sensitive digital scale. If you find one that weighs around 3.1 grams, that's your first sign of a potential copper planchet error. From there, it's time to examine the coin closely under magnification. Look for signs of doubling, especially on the reverse side. The word 1 cent and United States of America should appear crisp, but in double die coins, they'll look like they were printed twice. If you think you found something valuable, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and lower the value dramatically. Instead, store it carefully and consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade not only confirms its condition, but also its authenticity, and that's essential for selling to serious collectors. Now let's take a moment to discuss the current coin market. In 2025, collectible coin prices have been on the rise again, especially for error coins and rare modern issues. The demand for copper-based coins and minting mistakes continues to grow, driven by younger collectors entering the hobby, as well as investors looking for alternative assets. Online marketplaces like eBay show regular sales of rare 1983 pennies for hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars. Coin shows and dealer auctions also reveal strong interest in these unique coins. The right combination of weight, condition, and error type can turn an ordinary-looking penny into a collector's dream. Before we wrap up, here's a quick checklist for you to remember. Step 1. Find your 1983 Lincoln cents. Step 2. Weigh them. Look for any coin close to 3.1 grams. Step 3. Examine for doubling or minting errors. Step 4. If you suspect it's a rare variety, get it graded. Step 5. Enjoy the hunt. You never know. The next great coin find could be sitting right in your change jar.so. There you have it. The 1983 Lincoln penny might be a 1-cent coin in name, but in reality, it can be worth hundreds, even thousands, if you've got the right one. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and happy collecting. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about rare coins and hidden treasures. Hit the bell so you never miss another episode. Drop a comment if you think you found a rare coin, and I'll see you in the next one. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 1993 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a small copper coin that most people overlook, but that could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Yes, you heard that right. That little 1993 penny in your pocket, piggy bank, or old coin jar might be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and I'll explain exactly how and why.so. Grab your magnifying glass, get comfortable, and let's explore everything about the 1993 Lincoln penny, its fascinating history, the reasons it's collectible, what makes some of these coins extremely rare, and how much they're selling for in the current coin market. Let's start with a bit of background. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American currency since 1909. It was introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Before that, pennies featured the Indian head design, but the Lincoln cent marked a new era in U.S. coinage. Fast forward to 1993, and we're well into the era of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which was first introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Now, the 1993 penny might not seem very old, just over 30 years, but numismatically, that's enough time for unique variations, mint errors, and high-grade examples to become incredibly valuable to collectors. So what's special about the 1993 penny? First, let's talk composition. By 1993, The U.S. Mint had already made a major change to the penny's materials. Prior to 1982, pennies were made primarily of copper. But because copper became too expensive, the mint switched to a cheaper composition, a zinc core with a thin copper plating. So all standard 1993 pennies are made of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. That means they weigh about 2.5 grams instead of the older 3.1 gram solid copper versions. That's important because a 1993 penny that weighs over 3 grams could be a transitional error, meaning it was accidentally struck on a copper planchet. That alone can make it worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Keep a scale handy, because weight is often the first sign of a rare coin. Now let's talk about the different mints. The 1993 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark. Denver pennies are marked with a small D just under the date. And San Francisco coins carry an S, but those were only made for proof sets. Let's break down the mintage numbers quickly. Philadelphia struck over 5.6 billion pennies that year. Denver produced around 6.4 billion. San Francisco made a little over 3 million proof coins. So the Denver and Philadelphia coins are the most common, but within those huge numbers, there are valuable rarities. Let's start with condition. If you happen to have a 1993 penny in mint state, that means never circulated, no scratches, no wear, it can be worth more than face value. In MS65 condition, a 1993 D penny might sell for up to $10. That might not sound like a lot, but remember, it's a 1-cent coin. That's 1,000 times its face value. Now, if your coin grades even higher, let's say MS67 or MS68, it gets more exciting. There's a record of a 1993 D penny in MS69 red selling for over $4,000 at auction. Yes, $4,000 for a penny. But keep in mind, only a few examples have ever been graded that high. The average coin won't come close unless it's in pristine, nearly perfect condition straight from a roll or mint set. But condition isn't everything. Let's talk about errors. This is where the real money is. Error coins are factory mistakes, little flukes that happen when the mint is striking coins, and collectors love them. Some of the most valuable 1993 pennies are double dies. A double die happens when the coin is struck with a die that has a doubled image, especially noticeable on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." Look closely at those areas with a magnifier. If you see doubling, you might have hit the jackpot. Some double die pennies from other years have sold for thousands, and although 1993 double dies are rare, they do exist. Then there are off-center strikes. These occur when the coin is not properly aligned under the die. If your penny is missing part of the design because it's off-center by 10%, 20%, or even more, it can be worth a premium. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable it becomes. Next, we have wrong planchet errors. That's when a penny is struck on the wrong metal or coin blank, for example, a dime planchet. These are extremely rare but highly valuable. Another interesting variety is the wide AM reverse. Between 1992 and 2000, some pennies were struck with reverse dies intended for proof coins, resulting in a noticeable gap between the A and M in the word America. Although the 1993 wide AM is not officially known as a major variety like the 1992 version, it's always worth checking, because mispaired dies and reverse errors have been known to slip through undetected. So what should you do if you think you've found a valuable 1993 penny? First, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can lower its value dramatically. Second, weigh it. If it's over 2.5 grams, it might be a transitional error. Third, look for doubling, off-center strikes, or other mint errors. And fourth, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC if you believe the coin is in high mint state or has a genuine error. Now let's talk current market values. A typical 1993 penny in circulated condition is still worth just 1 cent. But uncirculated examples in MS65 condition or better can be worth between $5 and $25. Proof 1993's Lincoln cents in PR69 red deep cameo can be worth between $15 and $50 depending on demand. Major errors, such as a double die or a coin struck on the wrong planchet, can be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on rarity and condition. And the top end? The highest known auction sale of a 1993 penny was over $4,000 for a near-perfect Denver Mint example graded MS69 RED.TO. Sum it all up. While most 1993 pennies are common, there are some gems out there hiding in plain sight. Whether it's a pristine high-grade example, a dramatic mint error, or a rare transitional variety, these coins can command serious premiums in today's coin collecting market. So go check your change jars, search those old rolls, and don't overlook the humble Lincoln cent. That little coin could be worth a lot more than you think. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins, valuable currency, and treasure hunting tips. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a valuable penny, or if you have a 1993 cent you want me to look at. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.